Everybody ready?
Yeah.
Sir. Your impressions of Iowa and what they've kind of done here recently?
Right.
Up a lot of points.
Yeah, they've always been a team that can score a lot of points. Like no matter who's on their roster, like they really put you in binds the way they can attack you in transition with all the skill. They'll show a couple different looks. They're not going as small as they've been in the past, just because I think Rebraka's been such a good player for them. And but they still will at some time. Just how much, will they do that? But Chris Murray's a very good player. Really stretches things out. Then their guards. Perkins has 32 in the last game. Aaron Ulis had 17 at Michigan State. And so, like, they have a handful of guys. Sanford's won a couple games for him with his ability to shoot the basketball. He can get hot and change a game. I know I'm missing, some people there, but both McCaffrey's, have played, have experience. Patrick played really well here last year. It was last year before against us. Connor once again has a great assist turnover ratio, knocking down threes. Just giving them that kind of veteran leadership. So they have good pieces. They have a good team, and you got to be ready to score the basketball, because they are. And that's our goal. Our goal is to slow them down. I don't know if you can ultimately stop them. You got to be able to slow them down and not let them steal points. You can't let them have wide open threes. You can't let them just live at the free throw line, because they do. They get to the free throw line a lot. They really drive the basketball, and they're the aggressor. And that's what we want to be able to do is get our defense set, not let them have those open ones, and make them score overs, make them, at least make contested shots.
And how important is it to handle their press, what they're going to throw at you?
Right, yeah, sure. If they, they zone press you and they really extend that, then normally they'll go to it, and if you show weakness, they'll stay with it and be more aggressive. If you break it, especially if you score off of it, they normally just get out of it. So I think it's going to be important for us to be able to, when there's opportunities, try to be aggressive ourselves. When there's not, then you got to run good offense.
With Rebraca played, I think, 39 minutes last game, and he's pretty much their only traditional big that they play a bunch.
Right.
How do you handle if a team goes small against you?
Yeah. Well, offensively, it's nothing really different, even though they're not going to have somebody physically that can guard him. So they'll normally swarm him and have 2 to 3 people around him. It's at the other end who you match with, and it just depends on the lineup that they have. We've always matched. We obviously aren't going to match Zach with Chris Murray. He's the biggest guy on the floor. So we just match accordingly, and we normally just put him on the guy that we feel is less likely to hurt us, but there's still a downside to it, just like there's an upside at the end of the other end of the court. It's like playing cards. You got to flip it, and
Is that a feel thing, or do you have an idea ahead of time?
Well, the feel is who they play. I can't subplay people in for him. It's who he has in the game at that time, and then we just try to take the guy that we feel. Sometimes it's not as much as skill; it's about movement too. So you get someone that maybe is not a great outside shooter, and you put him on it. But if he's fast and he's quick, and now he's going to get around him, and now we're in help. That's we're kind of feeding into it. I don't think there's a end all be all in that situation. I think there's a downside for us, but I think there's a huge upside at the other end of the court.
Can you talk about the importance of the student section and just their scouting reports to know the opponents and the advantage of them kind of understanding the game? From a different
Talking about our
yeah,
student section?
about the paint crew.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool as they, each student section kind of does it, and they kind of get everybody organized with things, as long as it's constructive, and you know about the opponent, you know things about the opponent, but you're not doing crazy stuff, with chance or whatever it might be. But the support that they've done, our students have been great. They've been great in that area. So I think that's sometimes the downside with it. As they're educating about the wrong things. I think our student section has done the education about the right things, even though we've had our moments.
Do you think this team this year's done a good job staying on edge, as you like to talk to?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's a tough one through wins. You win, and you start to things start to slip a little bit, and as a coach, that's your job to try to not let it slip, even though organically it does. But no, I think they've done a good job of just kind of jumping back into the next opponent and understanding what we have to do. Like what happened down in Indiana was something that as a coaching staff, like you knew was coming. Can we handle it? And obviously we didn't do a very good job in the first half. So, but we belabored the point, and so it wasn't something that they weren't knowledgeable about, but you still have to go through some things sometimes. And now being able to get on edge and move to the next game, you shouldn't really have to be on edge after a loss, right? You move on, you got that sick feeling in your stomach, and hopefully you can do something about it.
Izzo said that you're the best coach at getting players to buy into their roles.
Yeah.
Without getting too deep in the weeds here, but when does that process start for you?
Yeah.
Is that an off-season thing? Is that
No.
when practice starts?
No, it's because you have to allow people to play and earn their place too. Because I'm not deciding, they're deciding. And so if you don't let them do that, one of the things with me is like, are you listening? Like, are you listening? It's like, they want my trust and I want theirs, but I don't play. So I'm really out of the equation, even though they think I'm in the equation, I'm not. So everybody in that locker room can play basketball, they wouldn't be. But now who can you trust? And you earn that trust. Like, do you follow what like what we're talking about? Do you say? And so when you get June, July, August, September, October, we're a year-round deal. Like, a lot of people do workouts and different things in the summer. I don't. I practice because I want them to be able to take what I'm giving them, and now can they do it? And now when they can't, now can they grow and learn from that, and then end up being able to do it? If you can't, you're gonna have a tough time playing. So it's not all about what a fan normally sees as physical ability, and that's it. There's so much more to it. Your understanding of the game, you're able to take things in, just doing your job. I know it sounds simple. You hear it a lot in football, like with guys that do their job, because football is very detailed in what they do. They run a lot of stuff. They have a lot of different packages. Like you have to be on your P's and Q's. Like, you have audibles. You have a lot of different things that you have to be able to read and know what's going on with some last-second changes. When basketball, not quite as much, even though things can happen. We're more of a workout society, where 30 years ago in basketball, guys played. So they understood things more. They understood angles more. They understood, how to play, how to read things. Now, we weren't as skilled as these guys are today, and we weren't in shape as well as these guys. We weren't as quick. We weren't as strong. Those things are starting to improve. But the other piece is you got to find guys that know how to play before they get here. Like, well, you can help them, you can coach them. To a degree, you can. To a degree. But if they walk through that door, like a Fletcher Lawyer walks through that door, he knows how to play. Like, he knows what's going on. Does he still need to learn some things? Yeah, but through competition, he will. You learn some hard lessons, and you keep getting better. But if you come through those doors, and I'm saying the same thing to you when you're 19 as I'm saying when you're 22, boy, that doesn't bode well. It just doesn't. And so, like, even though you've offered them a scholarship, they're here. They're auditioning at all times. They don't realize they're auditioning, but they're, and that's what I start with the shot selection right away. That's what I start with. Like, I quickly let them know, like, hey, that's a good shot, that's a bad shot, make or miss. And I think that's an important piece to really, really harp on those things. But I'm also waiting for them to show me what they can and can't do. And so when they start to show me, especially what they can't do, we try to put those things in the attic and get away from those things and just magnify what they're good at. So.
It sounds simple, but just the communication part of letting players know kind of where they stand.
Right.
Is that something that you do a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it just?
I do every day. I do every day. But just open, like, you don't always want it, you telling them, right? You open dialogue to where they know, right? They work on things, but it's got to serve as a team strength. Hey, I'm getting better at this. Well, is it something that we should do, not something that you want to do? Like that there lies the difference. It's got to be a team strength.
Kind of going off that, Ethan Morton came in here, great passer, scorer in high school.
Mm-hmm.
How soon did you kind of say, you need to learn to love defense? That's where you help us the best.
Yeah. Well, they all should play defense.
Right. Well, he played, he's matched up against the best guy every night. So.
Yeah, well, he's found his way in that area. He's got good size. He has a good feel about things. He knows what's going on. You quickly, Rayfield Davis was that way. Rayfield Davis was not a good defender before. You figure it out, or somebody else figures it out, and you watch him, right? Like that's real simple because I didn't promise anybody. I didn't promise Zach Edey anything. I didn't promise Mason anything. I don't promise guys anything. So when they get it, that's cool. Somebody else can come and get it then too. Like it's not always about starting. Like it's not always about those things. Even though everybody wants to, it's about winning. It's about collectively doing things. But if you're the best on your team at something, they're gonna find your minutes. He's become the best defender, so he's found those minutes.
Coach, obviously Patrick McCaffrey took some time away from his team to deal with some mental health. Just from a coach's perspective, how important is it for a player to be open about some of the things they're dealing with, take a step away and battle through that and come back and continue to contribute for his
Well,
team?
he's been through a lot. Patrick's been through a lot, and so it's actually a sign of strength to be able to do that. As a man, you look at all the kind of braggadocious type things where you don't want to be tough, you want to be doing things, and so put some dirt on it and move on, and that's just not the way it is, and so obviously he needed to take some time away, and he did, and I applaud him for that because it was the right thing to do. His mental health is more important than anything.